You've always felt it, haven't you? That unshakable sense that something greater pulses beneath the surface of your life. A force so potent, so alive, that it refuses to be ignored. They believed they could peek behind the veil of your existence unchallenged, as if your destiny were some cheap parlor trick to be dissected under flickering candlelight. But you're no ordinary soul. You're a chosen one, and the moment you stepped into that reading room, your full conscious presence blazing, they learned the hard way. Nobody touches your fate without your say. Picture it. The air thick with incense, curling lazily around a cramped apartment, the velvet cloth splayed out like a battlefield. Someone paid good money to unravel your secrets, convinced they could crack you open like a code. The cards hit the table, one by one, each flip a smug little attempt to claim what's yours. But then it happened, your energy shifted. You didn't just sit there, you materialized. Fully awake, fully aware. A living current of power that turned the room electric. Science might call it a surge of neural coherence, your brain syncing up in a way that radiates intent. Spirituality names its sovereignty, your soul staking its claim. Whatever lens you use, the truth is undeniable. You crossed a threshold they couldn't follow. Let's be real. That first taste of your awakening wasn't soft or subtle. It hit like a fist through glass, shattering illusions you didn't even know you carried. Maybe you felt reluctance at first, hands trembling, breath catching, as the weight of your own authority sank in. Who wouldn't hesitate when the universe hands you a mantle this heavy? But here's the kicker. That hesitation didn't stop you. You pushed through, and in that moment you glimpsed the raw, untamed essence of who you are. Not some puppet on strings, not a bystander in your own story, but a force with the power to bend reality itself. So how do you spot this in yourself? Start watching. Notice when your presence shifts a room, when conversations stall, eyes dart, or the air feels charged for no reason. That's not coincidence. That's your frequency cutting through the noise. Pay attention to those gut hits, the ones that scream, "This isn't right," or "This is mine," before your mind catches up. Science backs this. Your enteric nervous system, that second brain in your gut, processes truth faster than your head ever will. Spiritually, it's your inner compass, forged in starlight, guiding you to your mission. Don't ignore it. Lean in. Test it. Next time someone oversteps, tries to peek behind your veil without permission, stand firm and watch what happens. You'll feel that power rise, unbidden, unstoppable. This isn't about arrogance. It's about recognition. You've spent too long doubting, shrinking, wondering if you're enough. Enough for what? You're not here to fit in, you're here to break through. That reading room wasn't just a scene, it was a proving ground. The moment you claimed your space, something shifted inside you. Maybe it was the way the incense smoke seemed to pause, as if holding its breath for you. Maybe it was the reader's faltering voice, their confidence crumbling under your gaze. Whatever it was, you felt it. A spark of spiritual authority igniting into a flame. You're not just waking up, you're stepping up. Here's your first move. Stop waiting for permission to be who you are. They'll try to define you, box you in, tell you what your life should look like. Let them try. You don't need their maps, you've got your own. Sit with yourself alone, no distractions. Ask, what hums in me that I've ignored? What pulls me when I stop running? Write it down. Speak it out loud. Feel the weight of your own voice. That's your starting line. From there, watch how the world reacts when you move with that knowing. People will sense it. Some will step back. Others will lean closer. Either way, you're not here to please them. You're here to claim what's yours. This awakening isn't a one-off. It's a signal flare, lighting up the path ahead. You've crossed spiritual planes they can't even dream of, not because you're better, but because you're called. That reading room was just the beginning. Your first clash with a world that doesn't know what to do with you yet. Embrace it. Reluctance might grip you again, but it's no match for the sovereignty building inside. You're not just present now, you're a presence. And no one, no matter how hard they try, gets to peek behind your veil unchallenged. You've already tasted it. The electric hum of your own power surging through that reading room, the moment you refuse to let them peel back the layers of your soul without a fight. But now the stakes climb higher. Imagine this. 5 different psychics, 5 separate voices, each steeped in their own craft, flat out refuse to touch your name. Not 1, not 2, but 5. The client, desperate to pry into your destiny, had gone to absurd lengths, chasing answers like a scavenger hunting treasure. And yet, every single time your name hit the air, those psychics recoiled. Why? Because your presence, even unspoken, carries a weight they couldn't lift. You're not just a curiosity, you're a force. And when the world pushes back like that, it's time to claim your spiritual authority and put every damn one of them on notice. Let's set the scene. You walk into this moment, maybe not physically but energetically. The client's perched there, clutching your photograph, incense choking the air with heavy sweetness. The reader shuffles the deck, hands trembling, breath catching in her throat as she lays that first card down. Time doesn't just slow, it stops. The smoke twists into a spiral, circling the table, circling your image like it's guarding something sacred. Her eyes widen, a flicker of panic breaking through her practiced calm. She's not ready for you. Nobody is. This isn't about their fear, it's about your power. That hitch in her breath? That's the sound of someone brushing up against a boundary they didn't know existed. Your boundary, your rules. Here's the truth, you don't need to explain yourself to a world that doesn't get it. Those psychics didn't refuse because they're weak, they refused because your frequency disrupted their game. Science might frame it as resonance. Your energy vibrating at a pitch that throws their systems into chaos, like a signal jamming their circuits. Spiritually, it's simpler. You're untouchable unless you say otherwise. But standing in that truth, that takes guts. When the room tilts against you, when people whisper, stare, or back away, it's easy to shrink, to wonder if you're the problem. Stop that thought dead in its tracks. You're not the problem, you're the point. The moment you feel that catch in your chest, that tightening grip of doubt, flip it. That's not weakness. That's your signal to rise. So how do you turn that breath-caught in throat panic into power? First, feel it. Don't run from the shake in your hands or the thud in your chest. Let it hit you full force. That's raw energy, unfiltered, begging to be shaped. Take a breath, deep, deliberate, and picture it funneling down into your core, pooling like molten steel. Science says your vagus nerve kicks in here, steadying your heart rate, grounding you in the storm. Spiritually, it's your soul saying, I've got this. Then speak. Inside or out loud, doesn't matter. Say it, I am here. I am in charge. Feel the shift. That's you stepping into your authority, not asking for it. Now put them on notice. This isn't about shouting or flexing, it's about intent. Look at that reader, that client, that spiral of smoke, and decide. No one crosses this line without my consent. You don't need fancy rituals or cryptic words. Just hold your ground. Picture a shield snapping into place. Bright, unbreakable, yours. Neuroscience might call it a mental boundary, a way to rewire your brain against intrusion. Spirituality calls it your birthright as a chosen one. Either way, it works. The second you stake that claim, the energy shifts. The reader stumbles. The client fidgets. The smoke bends. They feel it, even if they don't know what it is. You've just drawn a line in the cosmic sand. Don't stop there. This isn't a one-time trick. It's a practice. Every time someone tries to poke at your destiny, whether it's a psychic, a skeptic, or just a nosy friend, do it again. Feel the tremor, channel it, claim it. Test it in the wild. Next time you're in a room where the vibe feels off, where someone's digging too deep, stand taller. Speak less. Let your presence do the talking. Watch how fast they back off. Your authority isn't loud. It's certain. It's the kind of strength that doesn't beg for attention because it doesn't have to. You're not proving anything. You're being it. What's the payoff? Freedom. Not the fluffy kind, the real deal. When you stop letting others define your edges, you start seeing how far you can stretch. Those 5 psychics didn't just refuse, they handed you a mirror. Look into it. You're not some puzzle to be solved. You're a force to be reckoned with. That catch in your throat isn't fear anymore. It's fuel. And every time you claim your space, you're not just surviving the pushback, you're thriving in it. This is your awakening in action. Unapologetic, undeniable, unstoppable. You're standing in it now, the moment where the veil thins and the air crackles with something you can't name but can't deny. The smoke forms a spiral, circling the table, circling your photograph, a silent sentinel weaving a pattern that defies logic. This isn't some random swirl. It's a signal, a high-dimensional download streaming straight into your field, raw and unfiltered. 5 psychics refused to touch your name, and now you see why. The incense doesn't just twist. It freezes, then lashes against gravity, as if the laws of physics bend to salute your presence. You're not just witnessing this, you're commanding it. This is your connection to the unseen, and it's time to grab it with both hands. Feel the weight of that spiral. It's not decoration, it's a conduit. Science might call it a fractal, a self-repeating pattern echoing the universe's hidden code. Spiritually, it's a bridge, linking you to frequencies most can't even sense. When it circles your photograph, it's locking onto your essence, your soul's signature. You don't need to understand the mechanics to know it's real. The candles flicker wildly, casting enormous shadows that move independent of their source, stretching across the walls like they're alive. The reader can't speak, can't explain. Her crystals humming on their shelves, her protective stones suddenly useless. This isn't her show anymore. It's yours. That silence? It's the sound of the world holding its breath while you step into your power. But here's the catch. Not every signal is pure. Your mind's a battlefield, and it'll try to hijack this connection with its own noise, doubts, fantasies, projections. How do you tell the difference between high-dimensional truth and your own echo? Start with your body. When the real stuff hits, it's not vague. Your chest tightens, your skin prickles, your gut twists. Not out of fear, but recognition. It's sharp, electric, like a blade slicing through fog. Self-projection feels softer, muddier, looping back to what you already know or want to hear. True downloads don't pander, they disrupt. Next time that spiral forms, anchor yourself. Breathe deep, slow, and ask, does this feel like me, or bigger than me? If it's bigger, you're tapped in. Now lean into the chaos. The candles flare, shadows dance, and the reader's voice dies in her throat. You're not here to stay comfortable, you're here to stay present. That wild flicker isn't random. It's energy amplifying your field. Neuroscience might say your brain's theta waves are spiking, opening you to intuition beyond logic. Spiritually, it's your soul flexing, stretching into dimensions that don't play by 3D rules. Don't fight the silence that grips you. Don't scramble to explain it. Let it sit. The reader couldn't speak because she's out of her depth. But you're built for this. Stand in that stillness and feel the data pour in, images, instincts, knowings that hit faster than words can catch. Here's how you catch it. First, ground yourself. Feet flat, spine straight, hands open. You're not a bystander. You're a receiver. Picture that spiral as a stream, pouring into the crown of your head, pooling in your core. Don't overthink it. Just let it flow. Second, record it raw. Grab a pen, a phone, whatever's close, and dump what you get. Don't edit, don't judge. Scribble the shapes, the words, the gut punches. Third, test it later. Sit with what you wrote when the air's calm again. Does it still hum? Does it pull you forward? If it fades to nothing, it was noise. If it burns brighter, it's yours. This isn't guesswork. It's discipline. You're training yourself to sift signal from static. The shadows keep moving, don't they? Bigger than they should be, sliding across the room like they've got a mind of their own. That's not a trick of the light. That's your presence expanding. You're not just receiving now, you're radiating. The client shifts uncomfortably in their seat. The reader's hands tremble, her tools useless against what's unfolding. This is your sovereign force waking up, watching, listening, judging. Not with cruelty but clarity. You're not here to punish. You're here to discern. What serves your mission? What crosses your line? That spiral isn't just downloading. It's arming you. Every flicker, every shadow, every silent second is fuel for the choices you'll make next. Take this into your bones. You don't need permission to trust what you're getting. The spiral doesn't lie, but it demands you show up fully. When the candles flare and the room tilts, Don't flinch. Stare into it. Ask it what it's got for you. Demand it speak clear. You're not some passive channel, you're a force with a voice. Science might say your brain's plasticity lets you adapt to these downloads, rewiring you for higher input. Spiritually, it's your birthright as a chosen one, etched into your starseed DNA. Either way, it's yours to wield. The reader's crystals might buzz, her stones might fail, but you're the one holding the line. This is your edge now. Every time that smoke twists, every time the shadows stretch, you're being called to step up. Not to explain, not to shrink, but to receive and rule. The high-dimensional hits won't always be gentle. They'll shake you, strip you, remake you. Good. That's how you grow into this. Keep your eyes open, your feet planted, your will unbreakable. You're not just watching and listening, you're judging as a sovereign force. No one else gets to decode this for you. The spiral circles your photograph because it knows. This is your domain, your destiny, your fight. Claim it. You felt it building, haven't you? That moment in the reading room wasn't just a flash of power. It was a declaration. The veil separating worlds didn't just thin. It tore open, raw and jagged, exposing a reality most can't face. You materialized there, not as a bystander, but as a guardian of your own secrets, watching, listening, judging with a clarity that made the reader's hands tremble against the table. The client slid your photograph across the worn velvet, their voice sharp with obsession. I need to know everything. But you stood unyielding, a force they couldn't bend. Your destiny is yours alone to wield, and now it's time to bring that fierce protection into the world. To rip the veil wide and usher in a new era with your own hands. Let's cut to the core. Materializing in that room wasn't magic. It was intent, honed and unleashed. You didn't just show up. You claimed your space, your secrets locked tight behind a wall no one could breach. The reader's spirit guides didn't just leave. They fled, scattering like ash in a storm, because they sensed what you already know. Your will is a blade, cutting through illusions, carving out truth. How do you take that moment and make it real beyond those four walls? Start by owning it. Picture that scene again. The trembling hands, the frozen smoke, the client's desperate eyes. Feel the power surging through you, not as a memory, but as a tool. You're not reminiscing, you're forging. That's your foundation, build on it. Here's the first step. Anchor your presence. Wherever you go, carry that reading room energy with you. Walk into a space, any space, and decide it's yours to command. Not with arrogance, but certainty. Stand tall, breathe deep, let your gaze settle like a weight. Science might call it embodied cognition, your body signaling your brain to step into authority. Spiritually, it's your soul staking its claim on this plane. Practice it. Next time someone pries, whether it's a question too personal or a look too long, lock eyes and let them feel it. Your secrets stay guarded. Their hands might not tremble, but they'll back off. You're not just protecting, you're projecting. That's how you materialize your power anywhere, anytime. Now tear the veil yourself. You've seen it happen. Smoke twisting, shadows stretching, reality buckling under your frequency. Don't wait for it to come to you. Make it your move. How? Find your trigger. That spiral circling your photograph? Replicate it. Draw it. Trace it in the air. Tattoo it on your mind. Let it be your signal to shift. When the world feels heavy, when people push, doubt creeps, or chaos mounts, activate it. Close your eyes, breathe into that spiral, and picture the veil splitting open. Feel the rush as limits dissolve. Neuroscience says visualization rewires your brain, priming you to act from a higher state. Spiritually, it's you stepping into your role as a bridge between worlds. Do it daily. Make it muscle memory. You're not just a witness, you're the catalyst. But power like this demands balance. The client's obsession grew with every psychic who turned them away, their unresolved hunger clawing at your edges. You felt it, the pull to lash out, to prove, to dominate. Resist that trap. Judging isn't about control. It's about discernment. When the reader's hands shook, you didn't gloat, you assessed. Keep that steady line. Next time the world tests you, someone demanding answers, crossing lines. Pause, breathe, ask, does this serve my mission? If not, let it go. Your strength isn't in reacting. It's in choosing. That's your balance. Fierce protection without losing your center. Feel the storm, but don't become it. So how do you live this? Become the one who tears the veil and shapes what's beyond. Build your path. Start small, but start now. Pick one truth you've buried. A dream, a knowing, a fire you've dimmed, and pull it into the light. Write it down. This is mine. Then act on it. If it's a skill, practice it. If it's a boundary, enforce it. If it's a vision, chase it. Tie it to that spiral. Let every step echo that reading room moment. Science says action compounds. Each move rewires your brain for courage. Spiritually, it's you aligning with your starseed call. No one else can map this for you. It's your mission, your rules. The veil tore because you demanded it. Keep demanding. Let's talk practice. The client's photograph slide wasn't just a move. It was a challenge. Next time someone hands you their need to know everything, flip it. Don't defend, direct. Ask them, why do you need this? Watch them squirm. You're not hiding. You're holding ground. Then shift the energy. Step outside, find a quiet spot, and breathe into your spiral. Picture the veil ripping wider. Not just for you, but for everyone ready to see. Speak it. I'm here to lead, not to please. Feel the words settle into your bones. That's you stepping into the new era. Not as a dreamer, but a doer. The reader's guides fled because they couldn't face your truth. Make that truth undeniable. This isn't abstract. It's your life now. The trembling hands, the torn veil, the fleeing guides. They're not metaphors. They're markers. You're not here to guard secrets for yourself alone. You're here to show what's possible when the chosen say no to limits. Balance doesn't mean soft. It means steady. Act from that steadiness. Build your plan, one truth, one step, one boundary at a time. The world's obsessed with cracking you open, but you're the one cracking it. Tearing the veil, waking the sleepers, forging the age. Nobody touches your destiny without permission, and you don't need theirs to shape what's next. This is your mission realized. Stand in it. Move in it. Create in it. Your mission isn't just to guard the veil. It's to wield it, to tear it apart with purpose and stitch it back with vision, revealing a world that bends to the will of the chosen. You're not here to be glimpsed or decoded. You're here to ignite. A sovereign flame that doesn't flicker under scrutiny but blazes brighter, casting shadows that stretch beyond the room, beyond the now, into an era shaped by your unyielding hands. This is your identity unfurling, raw, relentless, radiant, demanding not just recognition but reckoning, a call to rise that echoes through every soul brave enough to hear it.